There's nothing like a glass of scotch, wine, or beer to soothe the soul in the evenings or relax the mind at a party. If that party's in the dorms, however, alcohol can lead to some of the most frustrating, expensive, and thoroughly painful consequences capable of being inflicted by a non-governmental organization. Many students know this form of punishment by its benign acronym, JAMS, or Judicial Affairs Mediation Services. You may have heard of it. However, defending students against these charges is an equally benign acronym, SAC, or the Student Advocacy Center. Here to talk about their work and make you aware of your rights is SAC Director Scott Hansen. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
It's really a pleasure to have you. Can you talk a little bit about your role within the SG, or SAC's role within the SG, I should say?
Well, the Student Advocacy Center is part of the executive branch of the student government. So not only do we have a little bit of authority within the student government and some legitimacy being backed up by the student body in general, we also receive some funding from the student government, which helps us. We run programs to try and educate people about their rights as students, and also just to give them advice, basically, on the best way to go about handling the situation when they get involved in a judicial problem.
Can you talk a little bit about the resources that you mentioned that you offer?
Oh, well, basically, the main thing we do is to provide assistance to students who find themselves in trouble with JAMS, specifically who are going to a disciplinary conference or hearing. So if a student receives a JAMS letter or knows that they committed a violation of the Student Conduct Code, they're always free to come talk to us. We try and maintain office hours all the week long, and we will give advice on how the system works, basically what the students' options are in terms of dealing with JAMS. And we even go as far as to help them prepare for the disciplinary conference or hearing and accompany them to it.
Very nice. What are the limits to what you can do? Because I understand this sounds like a dream service.
Yes.
The best lawyer, legal defense team on campus.
Well,
but are there limits?
Of course there are limits to what we can do. We are not the only group on campus who can help you and provide advice for disciplinary problems. Actually, the Student Conduct Code explicitly states that any member of the AU community can be brought on as an advisor and brought into a disciplinary conference or hearing. However, since we have so much experience with it, I think we really are your best option if anything goes wrong. And we know exactly how the system works. We have close relationships with all the administrators in JAMS, and we have the best tools to make sure that things go fast and are fair. And at the same time, we aren't allowed to represent a student in a disciplinary hearing or conference, but we can be there as an advisor. We can write notes to the students, but unfortunately we're not allowed to speak on their behalf.
That's a tough one, because I like to talk, and that would be hard for me. So if I have been written up for say, an alcohol offense, how do I get you guys to help me? Do I just come to you, or how do I get your help?
Like I said, we maintain office hours all week long. We try and do from about 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, although sometimes we're there earlier and sometimes we're there later. So you're always welcome to just walk right in. We have an open door policy, and believe it or not, many students don't know about us, so we don't have much to do. So we'd be happy to help you at any time. We can also be contacted by our office phone number, which is extension 6413, or you could email sac@ausg.org.
I'm going to write down that number just in case I need it here pretty soon.
If you do drop by the office, we have some magnets with our number and contact information on them that we'd be happy to hand out.
Well, that's excellent. I know you'll probably be kept busy now after, after Founders Day, as Colin mentioned earlier. A lot of excitement there. If I want to become an advocate and get involved in defending people, as opposed to going to you to be defended, how can I do that?
Well, we're always looking for new people. This year, SAC exploded, actually. In past years, we've never really had more than 3 people working in the office in a given semester. We had 10 people last semester, and we're just getting more all the time. So if you just come by the office and let whoever there know that you want to be an advocate, we're happy to help you. We can give you an application right away, and we should have an interview ready for you within a week.
Wow, that sounds great.
Just doesn't it?
Bling! I hear there are new housing and dining rules coming up that are being proposed, and they're not in place yet. Can you tell us a little bit about those and the threat they pose to students?
Yeah, there's a list of changes to the residence hall regulations that have been suggested, but none of them have been approved yet. That'll be in March or April. And the 2 main ones that I think most students should know about are the one about a change to the alcohol policy stating that students who are knowingly or voluntarily in the presence of alcohol will be considered in violation of the Student Conduct Code. So you don't even need to be drinking now. Just being in a room with alcohol is enough to get in trouble. And similarly, just possessing an alcohol container, even if it's empty, if these new regulations are approved, that will also be a violation.
So if Grandma mails me a vase, which just happens to be a wine bottle with a label on it, because that's what she mailed me, I can get in trouble for having that?
I'm afraid so.
Wow.
But as I said, these have not been approved yet, so you still have a chance to have some input on the process. The JAMS Advisory Board is going to be meeting this Friday, and we're going to talk about what we might change to make the new rules more fair. But you could also get in touch with your RHA representative, who has direct input on the new regulations. So that's probably your best avenue if you're trying to change or make any new suggestions.
And so people should, if they're concerned about this and want to voice an opinion, talk to their RHA rep?
I recommend that highly.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Well, I thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. We've got lots to talk about, but very little time. I appreciate you joining us tonight to tell us more about SAC.
Hopefully I can come back sometime.
I'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, SG President Joe Vidlich joins the conversation with a commentary on smoking policy. Stay tuned.